What would you do if the very foundation of your family was shattered in an instant? Imagine returning home after a long day, expecting the warmth of your loved ones, only to stumble upon a scene that would turn your world upside down. Meet Alex, a young man whose life seemed perfectly ordinary, until the day he walked through that door. And then there's Linda, his stepmother, a woman whose charm could light up a room. But that charm concealed something darker, something that would lead to a moment Alex could never have prepared for. In that split second, he became the unwilling witness to a shocking betrayal, a moment he would capture on his phone, forever altering the fabric of their lives. As secrets unravel and desires ignite, Alex is thrust into a whirlwind of emotions, caught between loyalty and an unexpected attraction that could destroy everything he holds dear. Stay tuned as we delve into a story of love, betrayal, and the complexities of family bonds that push the limits of morality. Alex was a typical 20-something, navigating the complexities of adulthood with dreams and ambitions fueled by a close-knit family. He cherished his bond with his father, filled with fishing trips and late-night talks, believing that family was his anchor in a chaotic world. But beneath the surface, Alex felt the weight of expectations pressing down on him, a pressure to succeed and uphold their name. Linda, his stepmother. At first, she seemed like the perfect addition to their family, warm and effortlessly charming. But her relationship with Alex was layered, blending the roles of confidante and maternal figure. Linda radiated energy, captivating everyone around her, yet beneath that facade a woman wrestling with her own desires and regrets. Marrying Alex's father brought her a sense of belonging, but as time passed, the constraints of family life began to stifle her. The more she tried to embody the devoted stepmother, the more she craved freedom, a spark to reignite her passion for life. In their suburban home, where laughter once thrived, a subtle tension was building. As Alex and Linda shared moments of closeness, they unknowingly edged closer to a boundary that would shatter their world. It was just another Wednesday for Alex, a day that began with the sun streaming through his bedroom window and the sound of his father's ladder wafting in from the kitchen. The rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, a comforting backdrop to their morning routine. After a quick breakfast filled with light-hearted banter, Alex headed to work, his backpack heavy with a laptop and the weight of responsibilities. The day unfolded in a blur of meetings and deadlines, yet thoughts of family lingered, motivating him to push through. As quitting time approached, a sense of anticipation filled him. He planned to surprise his father with a homemade dinner, an ordinary gesture that reflected their close bond. Driving home, Alex felt lighter, excited to unwind in the familiarity of his house. But as he parked, he noticed the front door slightly ajar, a detail that felt off but didn't raise any alarms. Stepping inside, the warmth of home enveloped him, unaware that the ordinary would soon spiral into chaos. As Alex stepped through the doorway, the familiar warmth of home felt suddenly off. The house, usually filled with laughter, was unnervingly quiet. Calling out, he received only silence in response, an unsettling omen as he approached his parents' bedroom. With a hesitant push, he opened the door and was struck by an unimaginable scene. Linda lay tangled in sheets with a stranger, their laughter abruptly silenced as their eyes met his. Time froze and Alex's heart plummeted. Betrayal, anger, and disbelief flooded through him, a tempest of emotions battling for control. The heat of humiliation washed over him as he took in the sight the stranger's hands on Linda's waist, the shock etched on her face. Instinctively, he reached for his phone, capturing this moment of devastation. The click of the camera shattered the silence, echoing in his ears as he struggled to process the betrayal before him. In that instant, the foundation of his family crumbled, leaving Alex standing at the edge of an uncertain future, engulfed in pain and confusion. The air hung heavy with tension as Alex stepped into the room, his voice shaking with disbelief. "What the hell is going on here, Linda? How could you do this?" Linda's eyes widened, a mix of fear and guilt flooding her features. She scrambled to cover herself, the sheets slipping away as she struggled for words. "Alex, I didn't mean for you to see this. It's not what it looks like." Her defensiveness cracked, revealing a flicker of guilt in her eyes. "Please, just listen. I can explain. This is a mistake." "Not what it looks like? You're in bed with another man. How can you even say that?" His heart raced, a surge of anger and hurt bubbling to the surface. "A mistake. You call this a mistake? You betrayed my father, you betrayed me. Everything I thought I knew is a lie." Linda's expression shifted from fear to remorse. "I never wanted to hurt you, Alex. I was lonely. Your father, he doesn't see me anymore. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Do you even realize how this affects our family?" Alex's voice rose, the weight of his words hanging in the air as he struggled to process the betrayal. So this is your excuse. You felt lonely, so you threw everything away. Happiness? At the cost of our family? You think this is how you find it? The pain in his voice pierced through the tension, leaving them both standing on the edge of an emotional abyss, grappling with the consequences of a shattered trust. In the days following the confrontation, Alex was engulfed by a tumult of emotions. Betrayal settled heavily in his chest, a stark reminder of the trust he once had in Linda. Every interaction sparked confusion. He struggled to reconcile the woman he had respected with the one who had shattered his world. Anger simmered just beneath the surface, ready to explode at any moment. At work, he fought to focus as memories of that day intruded relentlessly. Colleagues' laughter felt distant, their conversations a blur, while he was haunted by images of deceit. Each return home became an exercise in endurance, where he wore a mask of normalcy for his father, who remained blissfully unaware. Dinner conversations were filled with hollow smiles and half-hearted stories, all while the reality of his fractured family loomed over him. Friends sensed the change in him, reaching out with concern, but he deflected their inquiries with vague excuses about work stress. Nights out, once a refuge, felt empty, reminding him of his isolation as he navigated conversations that felt superficial. Every encounter with Linda was fraught with tension. The guilt in her eyes contrasted with the anger boiling inside him, and though he wanted to push her away, an undeniable emotional connection lingered. As days turned into weeks, the weight of the incident darkened his relationships, leaving him trapped in a coil of pain, confusion, and unrelenting anger. Days after the confrontation, the tension in the house was suffocating. As Alex tried to maintain normalcy, Linda approached him one evening, her voice trembling. "Alex, can we talk? I really need to explain some things." He felt a surge of anger and apprehension. "Isn't there anything left to say? You made your choice." "Please, just hear me out," she pressed, stepping closer. "I know I messed up, but we can't pretend this didn't happen." Alex's heart raced. "What do you want from me? I'm not ready to forgive you." Linda's desperation was evident. "I'm not asking for forgiveness, I just want to explain. I miss you, Alex." Her words hung heavily in the air, drawing him into a conflict of emotions. "You miss me?" "After what you did," he replied, disbelief in his tone. "I thought I was alone, and then it just happened," she admitted, her vulnerability shining through. As she spoke, Alex felt his resolve waver. The pull toward her was dangerous, a tempting tide against the weight of betrayal that still anchored him. In the dimly lit living room, Linda leaned against the doorframe, her eyes searching Alex's face. "Do you remember all those moments we shared? The laughter, the closeness?" His heart raced, memories rushing back, but they felt tainted now. "What are you trying to do, Linda?" he asked, trying to mask his unease. "I just feel lost without you," she replied softly. "I know I hurt you, but there's still something between us." She stepped closer, the air thickening with tension. "Can't you feel it?" Every word wrapped around him like a warm embrace, reigniting a fire he thought was extinguished. "No, this isn't right," he insisted, struggling to maintain control. "You crossed a line." "I know," she murmured, inching closer. "But we can find our way back. You know me better than anyone. Don't you miss us?" Her nostalgia pulled him in, the vulnerability in her tone igniting conflicting feelings. He wanted to resist, to remember the betrayal, yet her touch sent shivers down his spine. "This is dangerous," he warned, his voice wavering. "Just let me in a little longer," she whispered, her eyes locked on his. The boundary between right and wrong blurred as he teetered on the edge of a decision that could alter everything. The tension between Alex and Linda grew unbearable, an unspoken energy pulling them closer each day. Despite his best efforts to keep his distance, Alex found himself replaying her words in his mind, igniting a yearning he couldn't ignore. One quiet evening, Alex sat on the edge of the sofa when he heard a soft knock. Linda stepped inside, her eyes filled with a mix of apprehension and desire. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "What do you want, Linda?" he replied, heart racing. "I just want to be near you," she said, taking a step closer. "I miss us, our connection." As she moved within reach, Alex felt the heat radiating from her, memories flooding back and awakening a fire he had tried to suppress. "This isn't right," he protested, even as he felt himself drawn in. "Maybe it is right," she countered, vulnerability shining in her eyes. "We could help each other heal." Before he knew it, the distance between them vanished. Alex's heart raced as he pulled her closer, their lips meeting in a tentative kiss that deepened, washing over him like a tidal wave. The world outside faded as they stumbled onto the couch, surrendering to the intoxicating pull that enveloped them. Each kiss, each caress ignited a thrilling mix of exhilaration and guilt within him. As they entwined, Alex felt alive, caught in a moment that blurred the lines between right and wrong. In that instant, nothing mattered but the heat of their bodies and the overwhelming desire that would forever change the course of their lives. As Alex and Linda continued their secret affair, they were swept up in a whirlwind of emotions, each day a blend of exhilaration and guilt. Every stolen moment crackled with electricity, laughter echoing in hidden corners, and shared glances igniting undeniable sparks. But beneath the thrill, guilt gnawed at Alex, overshadowing the joy of their connection with the weight of betrayal toward his father. "Is this what we really want?" he asked Linda one night, the shadows of their secret pressing in. "What if someone finds out?" Her eyes reflected a mix of defiance and vulnerability. "We can't help how we feel, Alex. This is real for us." Her passion was palpable, but a hint of desperation laced her words, as if she feared losing him. The emotional highs kept him coming back, yet the lows haunted him. One moment they would revel in laughter, the next doubt would creep in, reminding Alex of their precarious situation. He felt alive in Linda's embrace, but each moment was tainted by the reality of their choices. As their bond deepened, Alex was drawn to the danger and excitement, loving how Linda made him feel desired and truly seen. But with each passing day, he feared the inevitable fallout, knowing that their love was built on a foundation of lies. The emotional highs of their relationship fueled his desire, but the lows reminded him of the precarious path they had chosen, leaving him to question everything. As Alex grew deeper into his affair with Linda, the effects rippled through his family, straining his relationship with his father. The lively family dinners that once filled their home with laughter now fell into awkward silence, each meal heavy with unspoken tension. "Are you okay, son?" his father asked one evening, a hint of concern in his voice. "You've been quiet lately?" "Yeah, just tired," Alex replied, forcing a smile, but guilt gnawed at him. His father's trusting gaze felt like a weight on his conscience, making Alex feel like a stranger in his own home. Avoiding family interactions became a necessity. The vibrant memories his father often shared only deepened Alex's sense of betrayal. "Remember our trip to the lake?" His father would reminisce, and Alex would nod, his mind drifting to the secret he harbored. The tension escalated when his father began to suspect something was amiss. "You seem distant. Is there something you're not telling me?" he pressed, disappointment creeping into his voice. "No, Dad, I promise. I've just been busy," Alex stammered, fear constricting his chest. Each lie felt like another betrayal, pushing him further into isolation. Family gatherings became increasingly fraught as Alex watched his father navigate the shifting dynamics, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. The man he respected now stood on unstable ground, and Alex felt paralyzed, torn between the thrill of his affair and the loyalty he owed his family. As the consequences of his choices loomed larger, Alex realized that his relationship with Linda was threatening to shatter the very foundation of his family. The excitement of their connection came at a devastating cost, leaving him to confront the reality of his actions and the fracture they created. Keeping the affair a secret became a daily struggle for Alex, each moment fraught with anxiety and close calls. The thrill of his connection with Linda was often overshadowed by a constant fear of discovery. During family dinners, even the faintest sound, a phone notification or a knock at the door, sent his heart racing. He would glance nervously at his father, who remained blissfully unaware of the storm brewing beneath their roof. One afternoon, a text from Linda, "Can we meet?" "I need you," sent chills down his spine. Just as he was about to reply, his father walked in, casually asking, "Who are you texting?" Alex quickly replied, "Just a friend," hiding his phone and feeling the weight of deception suffocating him. A few days later, while heading to a secret rendezvous as paranoia gripped him, he parked several blocks away, scanning the streets like a fugitive. Each creak of the floorboards as he entered Linda's place amplified his fear. "What if someone sees us?" he murmured, dread seeping into their stolen moments. Back at home, Alex's unease grew. He double-checked locks at night, terrified that one misstep would expose their secret. The thrill of their connection was now overshadowed by a consuming dread, making him feel like a puppet in his own life. One evening, he overheard his father on the phone saying, "I think something's wrong with Alex." The words cut deep. Had his father sensed something? With every rendezvous and every lie, the pressure mounted, leaving Alex exhausted and consumed by paranoia. The tension reached its breaking point when Alex found himself torn between two worlds. The affair with Linda, once exhilarating, now felt like a burden. As days passed, the pressure mounted, leading to a crisis he could no longer ignore. One evening, Alex returned home unexpectedly to find his father pacing, worry etched on his face. "Alex, we need to talk," he said, concern heavy in his voice. "You've been distant, and something feels off." A sinking feeling washed over Alex. Would he reveal the truth and risk losing his father's trust, or continue to hide his secret affair? As he struggled to respond, his phone buzzed with a message from Linda. "I need to see you. Now." Her urgency tugged at him, a stark reminder of the thrill that had drawn him into this chaos. "Dad," Alex began, but the words stuck in his throat. He could see the vulnerability in his father's eyes. "I'm fine," he finally lied, the words bitter on his tongue. Then his phone rang again, a call from Linda. The choice loomed: answer and risk exposing everything, or silence the call and face the fallout of his deceit. "Alex," his father's voice broke through his thoughts. "You can talk to me. Whatever it is, we can work through it." Guilt surged within him. With a deep breath, Alex made his choice. "Dad, I need to tell you something," he started, feeling the weight of the moment settle around him. But just as he was about to speak, Linda's call pierced the silence, shattering his resolve. Caught between two lives, Alex stood on the edge of revelation, forced to confront the consequences of his choices. Would he step into the light and reveal the truth, or retreat into the shadows where desire lingered dangerously close? The truth was on the verge of slipping when Alex's father noticed something unsettling: a message from Linda on Alex's phone, the look in his son's eyes whenever she was around. Suspicion grew, casting a dark shadow over their family. One evening, his father confronted him. "Alex," he said, voice taut, "what's going on between you and Linda?" The words struck like a hammer. Alex's heart raced and he struggled to form a reply. "Dad, it's not what you think," he managed, but his voice cracked under the weight of deception. His father stepped closer, his face etched with hurt and confusion. "Why do I feel like I'm losing both of you?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. In that tense silence, Alex felt the full impact of his choices, the thrill of his secret affair, now replaced by a crushing guilt. His father's eyes pleaded for honesty, and in that moment, Alex knew no matter what he said, nothing would ever be the same again. In the end, Alex faced the harsh reality of his choices. The thrill of his secret affair now seemed hollow, replaced by an overwhelming sense of loss. His father, once his anchor, now looked at him with a hurt that words couldn't mend. Linda was gone, leaving behind only painful memories and shattered trust. Reflecting on it all, Alex understood the true cost of betrayal. Love, he realized, was built on trust and respect, things he'd taken for granted until they were gone. Though he couldn't change the past, he now saw his choices in a stark new light. It was a painful lesson, but one he'd carry with him, knowing he'd never let trust slip away so easily again. Sitting alone, Alex reflected on all he'd lost. The allure of desire had led him down a path of betrayal, costing him the trust and love he once held dear. In chasing something momentary, he'd shattered bonds he now realized were irreplaceable. He saw now that love required respect, and family was fragile, lessons he'd learned the hard way. Moving forward, he carried a solemn vow, never to let fleeting desires blind him again. After all Alex went through, I have to ask, what would you have done in his place? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy stories that dive deep into tough choices, like and subscribe for more. If you found this story gripping, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. There's so much more coming your way, stories that dive into life's most challenging choices. Don't miss out.